Good afternoon, friends. Today is, I always have to look at the date, Thursday, October 15th, which I knew, of course, because today's the feast. Uh, we've got some great saints in the next couple of days. St. Teresa of Avila today, and St. Margaret Mary tomorrow, and both of whom, for different reasons, um, are important to me. But before we get there, let's just listen to the gospel. That's actually assigned for tomorrow for St. Margaret Mary, because it would also be a great reading for St. Teresa of Avila. It's from St. Matthew's Gospel, you know it. At that time Jesus answered, I give praise to you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth. For although you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to the childlike. Yes, Father, such has been your gracious will. All things have been handed over to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wishes to reveal him. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden light. One of the preoccupations for me these last few days, and I think for Ascension as a body, especially as it relates to our schools, has been just the increase of violence in the neighborhood, and you're if you don't live here in North Minneapolis, or if you're not frequenting visits to the site, you're aware of it, because so often we wake up to the news that someone's been shot, right, or killed. Today's Star Tribune, Minneapolis mom marks her birthday arranging funeral for her son shot to death near Plymouth and Logan. A picture of Kalila Corey and her son Wanya. Beautiful mother-daughter shot photograph in the paper. Our family needs to grieve and work on moving out of the neighborhood, she wrote. Please pray for me and my surviving children. You may have also seen, and I would direct you to it, to find it online. It's been in the paper the last couple of days. It's a commentary, an op-ed piece by a young man named Marcus Hunter the second. Marcus went to Ascension School and is now a student at De La Salle. He wrote this piece, imagine you're a black male teen in North Minneapolis. And the headline goes on to say, walking down the street in your North Minneapolis neighborhood, afraid each step may be your last. Just like me. It's really a very authentic voice of a black teenager. I mean, the kids, the young men, the children who are dying in this neighborhood. Again, we spoke last week of Point there because it's right over there on 18th and Emerson, where 3 teenagers died in a rollover in a carjacked car after a police chase. It really, I mean, literally just thinking about it took my breath away. It takes your breath away. And so where is the peace? Where's the hope? Where's the light in any of it? And then, of course, I mean, as the circles go out, everything else that in our country these days that challenges one's peace of heart, peace of mind, peace of spirit, and circles in, closer in. What is it that's challenging that peace these days? Are questions of family and health and whatever it might be. You know, one of the things I think we're able to say as a community in response to young people dying on the street. One of the fathers of the young men was interviewed, one of the kids who died in the car accident, and he said there's no school, there's no job, there's no community, there's no nothing. And so that doesn't mean it's inevitable that one gets involved in crime. But in our neighborhood, sadly, that lure is so present to young people. And so what I wanted to say in response to how we as an Ascension community, for example, respond to that is by saying, what we've been doing over decades, of course, is ensuring that our young people do have a quality education made available to them. And not only a quality education, but everything that a supportive community can provide. So so please know that you're being a part of Ascension, you're contributing to, you giving your dollars to Ascension, for example, helps to ensure that the young people in our neighborhood are given a shot, probably a bad choice of words, isn't it? Are given the opportunity for something other. The kindergartners and first graders and second graders who are here. Hopefully in 10 years, will be aspiring, like Marcus is here, aspiring to something other than just giving in to the drift. Teresa of Avila and Saint Margaret Mary. Teresa of Avila became a doctor of the church. She's the first woman doctor of the church, declared to be so in 1970. Doctors of the church being, just among our most eloquent teachers in the ways of faith. I think there are 30-some declared doctors of the church. And she was the first woman in 1970. Since then, we have Catherine of Siena and Hildegard of being in Saint Therese, the little flower, the teenage doctor of the church. She, this gospel, as I said, would so resonate for her. Because again, in terms of, the great mystic that she was, she taught us, here's a quote actually from her: "The closer one approaches to God, the simpler one becomes. We need no wings to go in search of him, but have only to look upon him present within us." That, as St. Paul says in the letter to the Ephesians, that kind of knowing God's love beyond understanding, just dwelling in the presence, that brings peace. I bring up St. Margaret Mary as well because she is a close relationship to us at Ascension, because she was a visitation sister. And really popularized the devotion to the Sacred Heart. Now again, a lot of the Sacred Heart piety may not appeal to everyone, but that the heart, that the heart of Jesus becomes like the emblem, the icon of who God is, a heart that loves. Sister Mary Margaret, whose namesake, of course, is Margaret Mary, Sister Mary Margaret, who died this past month, she had a beautiful image of resting in the hammock of God's love, a hammock in the heart of Jesus. That complete kind of surrender to, or being taken up into God's love. In the face of the violence that, or the meanness, or the cruelty, or the evil, or call it what you will, or find words for it if you can, that we find ourselves in, the restlessness at the very least. Where are we going to find peace if not in God? If not in God, where? And so these words are important ones this week, I think. So that's the simple message this week. The closer one approaches to God, the simpler one becomes. You know, I've often said to people that as I've gotten older, my prayer has indeed become simpler. And that is, you know, every day it's just simply asking God to help me to know that He's with me. Asking Jesus to help me to know that He's at my side through it all. And when I remember that, I too often willingly forget that. But when I remember that, it makes all the difference. So I want to close with the prayer, a very famous prayer of Saint Teresa of Avila, or maybe it's more of a poem prayer. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. All things are passing away. God never changes. Patience obtains all things. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone suffices. That's it for today. Thank you. It's also National Pug Day. My pug's not here, but happy National Pug Day.